Coyotes on the hot homestead here. And that's Concho. He's looking for a rabbit. There's a rabbit underneath this deck here. So, and I think the rabbit's playing a little bit of hide and seek for him and is driving him nuts. So kind of forgive the dog. There's a little bit of it too, so kind of forgive that. But basically I want to talk about my dog. More important, the situation we ran into not too long ago. In fact, it literally was just not too far that way. There was a situation where I heard him barking. And you hear that bark there, and then he's got a higher pitched bark when he's chasing the rabbit. But this was more of a howl. Kind of, he's considered a hound dog. He's a Catahoula, and which is actually the state dog for Louisiana, state dog. But he had this howl, and that was different than what I've heard before. So I ran out there to see what the deal was, and I saw him howling, barking, and off in a little bit of a distance, not too far really, I just saw hind legs of a dog running, but it sure looked like a coyote. And I got coyotes in the area, and just to be clear, coyotes to me, when you hear them howl at night and when you hear them yelp and sing and things like that, it is just to me it's music. It is so beautiful. It's kind of that reminder that you are out in the wild. But when they get really close, it gets kind of eerie. It's almost scary when they get really close. Now, coyotes are very skittish, so for the most part with humans, they'll always stay away from you. But when it comes to a dog, we consider a dog a threat. So a small dog, they'll take them out. Medium-sized dog like Concho, they'll still consider them a threat, try to get rid of them. A larger dog, even like a German Shepherd, they'll take out a German Shepherd. And I'll get into that in another video. But basically, he kind of ran off that one coyote, and I called for him, and brought him back and put him inside, made sure he was safe. Then literally a few days later, I ran a situation where it was further on the opposite way basically, and it was further away, and I heard the same howl. So I go out there, and this time I've only got a 22. I grab my 22, and I go out there, and sure enough, I see kind of off in a little bit of a clearing. There's a lot of trees, as you can see, and so sometimes the view is a little rough. But I had this clearing, and about 75 yards away, I saw a coyote run, and I saw him chasing a coyote. But then I saw a coyote from the right-hand side try to cut him off. And I don't know how fast he is comparatively speaking, but he noticed that coyote right away, and he took off, and I yelled for him, and hopefully by me yelling and him being swift and quick, he came right up to me, and so the coyotes were gone. Sad part was there, and once I knew where my dog was, because I didn't want to just fire a shot because my dog's out there. Once he got back to me and I knew where he was, I made sure he was behind me, and then I laid off a couple rounds of the 22. But as you guys know, a 22 is to me a weak firearm. It's. I know some of you are not going to agree with this, but to me, a 22 is something you learn from. You shoot little bitty squirrels with, or rabbits, and that's all it's good for. Target shooting, playing around, plunking, things like that. But because I normally hunt with a 30-06, and that's my gun of choice. If I'm going after a predator like a coyote or even a smaller game like a javelina, then I use like a 22-250. Which is in the middle, from what I've been told, of a 223 and a 443. So it's a little bit bigger than your 223. So, but still, with the 22, I did lay off a couple of shots. They don't make much noise, but it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder when you're living off grid, when you have a cabin out in the woods, when you're having a farm, when you have a homestead, when you have, chickens, and I don't even have that just yet. Chickens and rabbits and livestock and even little kids. They'll go after a little kid. And you got pets and things like this that you got to be aware of coyotes. And you got to be aware of other predators. Coyotes are the biggest ones here. There are porcupines out here, and there are skunks out here, but they're very rare. But coyotes are the ones to really be scared of. In fact, I'll tell you a story that I kind of hinted at earlier. I talked to a guy I work with, and he has lived out here his whole life, and he has a big ranch, and his family's got cattle, and they've had dogs, German shepherds, their whole life, and he's ran in situations where he has lost German shepherds to coyotes, and this is the saddest part. He has had a cow give birth, and during that time, the coyotes were attacking both of them. So here you have a helpless cow giving birth to a newborn, and you got one or multiple coyotes going after them. They both obviously died. So predators are like the coyotes here in Arizona. I'm sure everywhere. Just you don't mess with them. You keep them away as much as possible. With a .22, trying to shoot them, they're on the move. It's a moving target. There's a lot of trees. It's going to be hard to hit them. So I'm going to put away the .22, and I'm going to go with my 30-06 because it makes more noise. And so it makes more noise. So, in fact, hear that bark? I don't know if you noticed that, but that concho was chasing a rabbit. So, but with my 30-06, I ran into a situation literally a week later where I have a little run for Concho for nighttime so he could just go out, do his potty thing, and come back in. Well, he was howling up again. So he was barking and howling, and I went out there and I laid off a couple of rounds of the 30-06, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Laid off a couple of rounds of the 30-06, and I got a wood pile there and into the base of a tree. It's one of those things where you're shooting at night, you got to be careful. Make sure that first off, you don't shoot one of your things. You don't shoot your water tank or a building or something like that. So you got to be careful of where you shoot. So I was shooting at the base of a tree and I was shooting into a wood pile. But I laid off a couple rounds, and we haven't noticed the coyotes close by, and they haven't bothered him so far. But stay tuned for some more, because I got some more information coming about the coyotes. So, scary thing, but you got to deal with predators on the homestead. So, stay tuned for a couple more videos about this. Okay.